Howdy, folks. This is John McLeod with Complete Nerd Authority Saturday Night. Um, I just want to go over a couple of things that I've been watching over the past few years since my absence. Um, I'll just jump right into it. Tonight, I want to discuss uh, which one of the biggest movies, the movie that's everybody's talking about, that just hit number one with a staggering 70, I believe it's 70 plus $1 million in the box office. And of course, I'm talking about Sonic 2. Sonic 2 did an amazing job. Excuse me, it was way better than the first one. Uh, I mean, it explained a lot about in between what happened between um, between the second movie and the last movie, the first one. Um, I don't want to spoil but I mean, it was definitely it was definitely a great pace from the first movie to the second one now. You get to see Sonic, you get to see Sonic, Tails, and of course Knuckles. Um, I like how I mean, Tails and Knuckles, uh they put in the right amount of screen time for him. I mean, I I think they did their background story really really well. They explained a lot more about Tails' situation and how about how he's just this he how he's basically just this kid like character who likes to fix things and build things such as the Sonic helicopter, not helicopter, the airplane that you get to see in the movie. Um, and of course, he had a lot of other nifty gadgets, which was really cool. Of course, Knuckles, in my opinion, he was like the star of the show, voiced by Idris Elba. I mean, Idris Elba literally just knocked it out of the park as Knuckles. I really liked how they did the backstory about his tribe, his clan, or whatever. The Echidnas had some sort of a they had some sort of a confrontation with the longbow owls. I forgot. They were called Longfellow. I forgot. Long. The darn Longfellow. The Longbow tribe. Basically, the owl that raised Sonic. So they kind of got into a bit more into detail with that. Um, and of course, they displayed his strength really well. Knuckles, I'm talking, of course, they just uh, really showed off his strength with his, of course, with his fists, his knuckle pads, and of course with his speed. Of course, he's way faster. Not way faster. I mean, he's just as fast as Sonic. Um, and of course, he collaborates with Jim Carrey, Dr. Robotnik. Jim Carrey, he did an amazing job as well. Pretty much brought the same energy he did with the first movie as Dr. Robotnik, and he just brought it on to the second movie. You get to see, I mean, you get to see a lot of Dr. Robotnik's inventions, and yeah, you definitely might see some of his creations displayed, especially towards the end of the movie. So it was definitely like a huge tribute to Sonic 2 the video game, which appropriately enough is it's on its 30th anniversary. So happy 30th anniversary to Sonic 2. Um, of course, the Sonic 2 video game, I think, in my opinion, really helped sell the Sega Genesis console. It was I mean, it was a great way to get people get people introduced to the console, where you got to play as Sonic and Tails. Uh, just basically going through the levels of the game. If you had two people that wanted to play the game, I mean, there you have it right there. So excuse me. Um, so they most certainly brought a lot of that into the Sonic 2 movie. They had a poster that was very reminiscent to uh, the video game, that had the same box art as the video game, which was amazing, which was really cool. So it really just showed that they really were taking excuse me, they really were taking this serious with the making a video game movie, and adopting it into a video game, and adopting it into a movie. So I mean, hands down, so far, the first two Sonic movies are, in my opinion, are going down as probably one of the greatest video game based movies of all time. I've done I've done a show talking about video game movies, so yeah, so this is definitely a huge step forward for video games and movies. But I mean, they definitely have a long way to go. I mean, you see Hollywood put out movies based on video games over the years, and they still haven't gotten haven't quite gotten a grasp of that. But yeah, I mean, but with Sonic 2, it's definitely something. It's definitely a great step forward for what they for what could potentially be good for whenever they decide to make more video game based movies, and I'm sure they will in the future. I mean, there's been a lot of talk about them doing other video games, and making them into movies. Of course, there's Mario. The trailer hasn't even dropped yet, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm real skeptical about that. But only time will tell. So, oh, and there's a nice little surprise at the end of Sonic 2. So, yeah, definitely after watching the end credit scene, I'm super stoked about how they're gonna move forward with Sonic 3. Oh, and they also another announcement that they made was that I thought was really really cool was um they've already confirmed that they're pretty much in the long haul with Sonic the Hedgehog. They're planning on putting out an entire universe. They've already confirmed that they're creating an entire cinematic universe of Sonic based on Sonic characters. They what the part of that One part in particular that really just got me excited was that they're planning on doing a Knuckles the Echidna spinoff show, which is coming to Paramount Plus pretty soon. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. But the way I was thinking about it, I'm assuming that they're planning on doing they're planning on focusing the story of Knuckles based on um what happened between the first two Sonic movies. I'm just assuming that they're going to explain more about Knuckles and his tribe and his family, or whatever, whatever. But that's just my guess. But I guess we'll see what happens from there. So yeah, I definitely recommend the movie. If you haven't seen Sonic 2, definitely get out there and go watch it. So oh, and the other topic I want to talk about, um I just recently uh I recently signed up for Crunchyroll. I'm on the 2 week free uh the 14-day trial or whatever. But I've been watching one show in particular is Go Lion, Beast King Go Lion. And of course, if you would take a look at it, I mean, it's definitely familiar for people that are around my age, that grew up in the 80s or 90s. It's basically the original Japanese version of Voltron. Of course, Voltron being the English adapted version, but the original Japanese version of Voltron, Go Lion. Oh, it's way different uh than the the American version that we watched as when we were younger, when we were kids. There's definitely a lot more darker themes. Even at the first episode, you had scenes of torture, of people being whipped and whatnot. It was just, it was pretty crazy. And the Earth somehow, the Earth ends up being destroyed from nuclear war, and then at some point in the episode, I think it was like the 14th episode, Earth ended up being destroyed forever, and that was just like, that was pretty heavy. And you had the Japanese dialogue and the subtitles and whatnot, and then you have the Drool Empire, the bad guys, the Drool Empire. It was just, I mean, it was just way dramatic. Um, the characters, of course, were named differently. They all had nicknames. I mean, of course, you had Keith, the Red Space Explorer. He was called, well, his real name was Akira, but his nickname was Chief. Uh, Pidge, the smaller one, he was known as Shorty. Honk, he was known as Hothead. Lance, he was known as doggone it. Yes, Moody. Yes, he was known as Moody. Uh, and of course, Princess. Of course, she was Princess. In the Go Lion version, she was named Princess Fala, but we knew her as Princess Allure in Voltron, the American version. And then, of course, Sven, the original pilot of the Blue Lion, he was known as Quiet. Of course, they have Japanese names, but but I, but at the moment, I don't remember all their names. So, but I'm about nearly halfway in, and it is just, it's pretty crazy. And of course, Lotor, who was known as Sin Clean, who was the son of uh, Lord Dibazal, I believe his name was. But of course, in the English version, he was known as Zarkon. And then Sin Clean, that was Lotor. Lotor, yeah, Prince Lotor. So then there's Witch Hagar, which was, who in the Japanese version she's known as Witch Hanever. It, I mean, it's pretty crazy. I mean, the first episode, they were brought in from Earth to be worked at, basically basically to be worked as prisoners for the Drool Empire, and they end up escaping and ended up uh, on the planet Altea, but on Voltron it's called Eris. The planet was called Eris in Voltron, but in Go Lion it's known as Altea. Oh man, but I mean, there's a lot of death. It's way more dark and way more violent than it was on the original. I mean, not the original, on the English version of Voltron. I mean, it's pretty crazy. Um, Even the Roe Beast, well, we call in the United States, in well, here we call they were called Roe Beasts. Every time the Jewel Empire sends down a random monster like they do on Power Rangers or Super Sentai. They were known as Roe Beasts, but in Japan they were called Death Black Beast Man, which is pretty dramatic and a bit over the top. But yeah. Um, my only question is, how did they manage? How did they manage to put that through on a kid show? At one point, I assumed that show couldn't have been for kids because there were so many swear words on the subtitle with the subtitles and whatnot. I mean, it's been all around crazy. But honestly, I mean, I've been enjoying it so far, and I think it's only appropriate because when I think of GOLION, of course I think of Voltron, and of course Voltron being the very first anime that was featured on Cartoon Network, on Cartoon Network's Toonami. It was part of the original, the very first original lineup, along with Real Adventures of Johnny Quest, uh, Thundercats, the Cartoon Roulette, where you had the Hanna-Barbera superheroes, Mitor, Space Ghost, Birdman, and Superman, Max Fleischer's Superman. So, I mean, Voltron, aka GOLION, definitely deserve a lot of credit because they were the very first anime to have been featured on Toonami. Of course, that was a year before Sailor Moon, and then of course Dragon Ball Z came in, and they just completely went from there. Of course, they were bringing other shows like Robotech, Gundam Wing, Inuyasha, Yu Yu Hakusho, Bleach, Big O, Outlaw Star, and then eventually Naruto. I mean, so yeah, I mean, I think it's just only appropriate that that you remember the original, the very first one that came in, so to speak. So yeah, I highly, and of course I definitely recommend Beast King Go Lion. I mean, if you have Crunchyroll right now, go check that out. I mean, it's pretty heavy and dark. I mean, but it's an all around great show. I mean, I've been enjoying it so far. So yeah. So I guess that'll do it. I guess that will do it for me here with Complete Nerd Authority, and we really appreciate your all of y'all's love and support. And I will see you guys next week. See you around. Peace.